Well, joining me in studio now to discuss this further is political analyst Mr. Sfiso Mahlangu. Good afternoon to you, sir, and thank you for joining us here on Express Lunch this afternoon. First and foremost, as a political analyst, was there an expectation that the Democratic Alliance would find some problem or some issue in the preferred candidate?
Good afternoon, and good afternoon to Africa. A beautiful day in South Africa, but as to be expected, I think the issues are rising. I am not changed. I'm not even particularly perturbed by this. I've seen it coming, and it has been an expression. The CV of the coming public protector, Ms. Mkhwebane, was brought to our attention for scrutiny, and we looked at it. I mean, we followed the interviews right until 3 in the morning. And this is the only time that the ANC and the EFF have actually in a long time collided on anything. I mean, that arrangement, that agreement was met with her. But I think my point is this. Say she was a spy and she was working for the South African government at one of our ports, or one of our international ports or something like that. It is very dangerous for the DA, particularly an advocate Breitenberg, to come and say she cannot be put through because she was a spy if she's working internationally, because it will put all other stakeholders or other SA employees who are in various missions in the embassies around the world. That will make it a very challenging position for them. I hope this does not run on the periphery of her being an African woman. And often, people say we like to politicize it and we make it a racial issue. If we are still talking about appointing black women, if there are still black women being appointed into positions of white men or positions of white women, then it's a racial issue. And until we just appoint people, then we'll never dismantle the race creed. But I think it's very...
there are hints of it being a racial issue?
Well, why didn't the DA bring it out before all of this? And I mean, we were sitting in the studio last night with Cindy, and Advocate Breitenberg could not produce any proof of these suggestions. And I think to make such a deeming remark and to cast such aspersions is crude, because you cannot prove anything. And I tell you this, it will not be proven. But every political party wants an appointee that they want because they want the public protector to deal with the president. They want the public protector to deal with the cabinet. And members of the ANC will want the public protector to deal with members of the DA. For the DA, it will be corruption. For the ANC, it will be white monopoly capital. And that's not the directorate necessarily of the public protector. Yes, the public protector can enter the public periphery. Even the president is not close to that. We've seen that in the past. But there are many issues that go beyond just parliament, that go beyond just the cabinet. And to take this woman and make her run in the political periphery is unfair, because she is not Thuli Madonsela. She will not be Thuli Madonsela. And it's unfair to take her and try and make her fill Thuli's shoes.
And that was going to be one of my other questions. I mean, we're not looking for a carbon copy of Thuli Madonsela. Just talk us through what we are looking for in a public protector.
We're looking at a public protector who will be objective. I think objectivity is number one. One who is not compromised by politicians, one who is not bribed. I mean, to now come and say she was a spy, to your memory, in February last year and the year before, Thuli Madonsela was called a spy by the MVA. She was suggested to be a spy abroad. One member came and suggested that Ms. Madonsela was a spy for the Americas. She was a spy of the American government in South Africa. But those aspersions didn't last. And so why should this one stick? There's going to be accusations because this is a public office. There's going to be suggestions. I think we need to expect that. But to expect her to be Thuli, because people in this country have a fallacy that Thuli's office was to bring down the president, and that's not true. The president is one the issues she was investigating. And in fact, she was not even investigating the president. She was investigating the malice use of public funds in the building of the president's private home. And in her report, she said the president has unduly benefited. You know, that's what it said. And you know, you get the sense that this is the Treasury and this is public works that are entangled in all of this. So to expect her to be the watchdog or to be, you know, the cater dog to all political detainees or to get down people that we don't like as political parties is expecting too much of her. I think South Africans, and particularly Parliament, and particularly opposition parties, must allow her to do the job. Had it been Judge Desai was once accused of rape in a foreign country. Those charges were withdrawn. Had it been him because he's a man or because he's not a black woman, would they bring up those issues? I think the desire to bring down people in South Africa has got to stop. They need to allow this woman to be. Thuli was not perfect. And none of us in any public office will be. In any political periphery, no one can bring perfection. And if you expect perfection, then you must give it. But I think what is expected to be seen is that her credentials are in order.
Yes.
Her history, her work ethic has been tested.
And let's expand on that. I mean, like you said earlier, majority of South Africans sat until 3 a.m. in the morning watching those initial interviews taking place. And South Africans, a lot of them actually enjoyed, you know, her interview. They actually took a liking to her from that point. Just let's expand on Busisiwe Mkhwebane herself and her accolades, her achievements so far, and why she is the best candidate.
It seemed that the Twitterati, the South African Twitterati, or Black Twitter, if you will, really took a like to her.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we were following tweets here the other night where people were satisfied with her delivery. And it's not wrong that South Africans feel this way. You know, they were exposed to her, they felt that she was open, and it's someone that they would trust. Now, you know, one of the leaders in one of the oppositions, Mr. Shivambu, came and had a lot to say that night. But the EFF has agreed with her appointment. Now there's aspersions of her being a spy. The question is then, is there proof? There was no proof. I actually was interested to learn if the deputy public protector, Mr. Mahlangu, would make it. And if he can be the deputy, I would be very offended by that. If I was good enough to be a deputy, but I would never be good enough to be public protector. Why are all the issues of him being a Zimbabwean? He does have South African citizenship. But why do all these issues come up now? Why do the issues come up when he's applying to be the public protector? Why didn't all these things get tested when he was the deputy public protector? I think this woman has got a good creed, and time will tell. But we shouldn't be seen to be dropping people. We shouldn't be seen to be casting aspersions because they are not who we want. I think in South Africa the challenge is if the ANC makes a wrong move, we see it. If the ANC says something right, we must oppose because we are the opposition. I think it's time in party politics that if Mmusi Maimane has got a good point and he's got a solid arrangement, it's something that I will agree with. I shouldn't want to agree with Mr. Malema because I am a party follower. I shouldn't agree with wrongdoings within a party because I'm inclined to that party. All of us want to have the hymn book of our party sung, but it's time we agree with the moral fiber that is in this country and maybe put a miss to cadre deployment and support the creed to which we see people developing themselves. I think this is a point for women in this country. I think she's going to be a link up for women. I attended the event yesterday morning when Ms. Madonsela was speaking for children's rights. And you know, she spoke very eloquently. And I got to understand this is not just about politics. There's a lot at stake that the public protector has to do. And I think we must allow people to do that without playing them on the political tennis court because it will be really unfair. If a good person with good moral fiber, with good history and good qualifications has to be downtrodden because they are Africans, because they worked for government, not everyone who works for government in this country is corrupt. Not everybody who works for an African government is corrupt. Not everyone in the DA is a racist. We must move along those lines. We must forget those things. Not everyone who works with the Guptas is captured. We cannot cast those aspersions.
And
If people want to continue saying that, put the proof on the table.
I agree. But on that point of politics, because we are running out of time, you know, we've seen Thuli Madonsela come forth and be very controversial in the cases she chooses to investigate. We saw in Kandla, we saw the Gupta family. How important is it for the new public protector to come in and stay apolitical and stay away from party politics? Do we have that expectation that this is something we will see in the future? And how have you, as a political analyst, analyzed it in the past?
I think that we expect the public protector to deal with politicians. And maybe because we are downtrodden, or maybe because we feel that you know, the Scorpions were oppressed, we feel that the Hawks are a political monopoly, that, you know, the Hawks don't really do what they need to. And so perhaps South Africans were feeling like the public protector is their last hope or their last option. The public protector should be very objective. And if it's in the cabinet, the public protector should go against that. But we shouldn't just, with a stick and a mile, expect the public protector to just be a political dog, because that will be unfair. There are many, many issues in this country that the Office of the Public Protector has got to deal with. I think in my analysis, no matter who it was that was appointed, if not for Ms. Mkhwebane, would have found opposition, because this is opposition politics. But I think even as we are ruling and we are oppositions and we have difference of opinion, I think there comes a point in this country where the development and the growth and the protection of the Constitution must lead. Before her color, her creed, let's look at, can she protect the Constitution? And if we feel that she can, then we must appoint her. But I think we must at some point outgrow factionalism. At some point we must outgrow the desire to racialize everything, because it does not grow the country.
We hear you. Thank you very much, Sfiso, for your time. We appreciate having you in studio and chatting to us this afternoon. And of course, was political analyst Sfiso Mahlangu chatting to us about the majority, the expected candidate rather of public protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane. Allegations coming now with regards to her being a spy. That's what the Democratic Alliance is saying. We do know that this will be discussed in National Assembly a little bit later today. We've got our eye on that story, and we will keep our viewers up to date here on Express Lunch and ANN 7. But it's time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll recap all of your top stories and headlines. Stay with us. I'll see you after this.